And what is going on, everyone? And welcome to a special edition of The Swarm. Back is Mr. Spencer, my brother from Athletically Declined. How's it going, Pops?
Oh, it's a victory Sunday, brother.
What?
And how can you not feel any way but immaculate after a 32-12 beatdown from our Houston Texans?
Beat down, belt to ass, blowout, whatever the hell you want to call it, the Houston Texans did it. The apology needs to be as loud as the disrespect, and it was. Shout out to Rex Ryan. Tip my cap to you for apologizing, on camera in front of everyone. That made me like Rex Ryan even more. But hey, they wanted Houston, Spencer, and I said this on our show on The Swarm. History has shown us when you want Houston, you get Houston, and you got your ass beat yesterday by the Houston Texans.
A tale of two halves, or kind of like a tale of
Like a half and a half,
Yeah, like during the first quarter and about a half, I was tilting hard. I was feeling this is going to be embarrassing. Shades of wild card losses to the Chiefs and Colts. I was feeling the same kind of way. But then the play that changed it all. Who'd have thought a snap going over the head of CJ Stroud would light a fire under the entire offense? And then from there, it was easy coasting.
It's just crazy how one play can really affect this team. And we talked about how anything positive can go a long way for this Houston Texans offense. Dude, once that happened, I'm like, what is going on with this team? Because for the first quarter and a half, this offense did not show up at all. It felt like the same old Houston Texans. Then CJ Stroud happened. Then he walked into a telephone booth and put on the Superman cape, picks up the fumble, gets on the run, and for him to have his back turned toward the play, immediately sees Hutch, finds him, and then it was all she wrote there. Then you saw a big old pass to Nico Collins. That was 99 yards, Spencer. Dude, you're probably your longest scoring drive in Houston Texans playoff history.
Yeah, and it was the moment that was concluded with that Nico Collins touchdown. That's when you started to feel the momentum. It's like, all right, this is the game that the Texans now are in control of, and they got that quick field goal at the end of the half. Shout out to CJ Stroud for his career-long rushing attempt.
Let's talk about that.
27 yards. Can we see more of that going forward? Please. Please. We know he's capable of doing it. We just haven't seen him do it a ton. And I want to say this too. Am I allowed to give praise to one offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick?
The man with the big hat?
Besides the play that Mixon fumbled the ball, which was a halfback pass, which I believe that play call was the reason why he fumbled, because he wasn't tucking it like a normal carry. It was his first fumble in, 4 years, something like that. Other than that, I was really happy with how aggressive he was with the play call. Dialed up a lot of quick passes to get CJ Stroud some momentum, build up that confidence. Something that me and you have talked about a ton is we need CJ feeling confident. I want him feeling himself. He doesn't do squabble anymore like he did last year, but I want that man animated and I want him pumped up. And we got that CJ Stroud after that 27-yard run in the rest of the second half.
I mean, I think that's when me and the boys felt like, there was going to be a change. First of all, I've been begging CJ Stroud to use his legs since we've drafted him. Go look back what he did against Georgia. There is something there, Spencer. And if CJ Stroud decides to use his legs, that is another element to this Houston Texans offense that defenses need to account for. And here's the thing. There's no film on CJ Stroud running the football besides this game against Los Angeles. If they incorporate that some way, somehow, some RPOs, this offense might take a next step forward. But after that 27-yard one, first of all, CJ Stroud, please slide going forward. Yeah. Please slide going forward. You see him pump his chest, and oh my God, I looked and I said, he's back. He's back. When you see him do things like that, when you see him cross his arms like that, CJ Stroud is back. And you put up a quick 10. Halftime, we're thinking, all right, we know what happens in quarters 3 and 4. Is this Houston Texans defense going to keep on doing what it's been doing? Can this offense give it enough? And hey, and both showed up. in the second half. But, kind of want to move away from CJ Stroud a little bit. We'll get back to this Houston Texan offense, man. I think the star of the show had to be D'Amico Ryans. My God, an elite game plan, and he might have one of the best secondaries in the NFL, Spencer.
Yes, Kamari Lassiter came to play yesterday. He had, even though Derek Stingley's going to get the headlines, his interception, the first one that Herbert threw, that was a spectacular play. And then he followed it up on the next drive with a just emphatic hit stick tackle for loss. Kamari Lassiter looked like a seasoned veteran out there yesterday. And I have to admit, Ruben, I know we're biased here, and I don't hide from my bias, but I'd be curious to see if there's another cornerback duo in the NFL that can touch these two.
No.
I don't see one.
And then you see the youth. Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, year 1. Derek Stingley, about to enter in year 5. You're one safety away from being one of the best young secondaries in the NFL. Hopefully, Jalen Petrie can, can be healthy next season, and maybe you draft one and get one in for 8. Dude, can you imagine if this team would have got Justin Simmons?
That would have been very interesting, but I gotta admit, I also want to give a shout out to another guy that I have been very critical of in his Texans tenure is Eric Murray. Yes, I never liked him because he was the big signing of GM Bill O'Brien, and I just
Tyrann Mathieu replacement.
Yeah, those were always just gonna leave sour taste in my mouth. But to his credit, he has stuck around through thick and thin with this Texans roster. And I'm so happy that he had that pick 6. He got his moment in the playoffs. I need more of that going into next week against Kansas City.
Eric Murray has been here for Bill O'Brien, David Culley, Lovie Smith, and now D'Amico Ryans. Dude, when it's all said and done, if Eric Murray just continues to just be a reliable backup safety, man, I think he could have another, couple of good years in front of him. And dude, Eric Murray, brother, he's just a dinosaur, but he's making plays, man. As soon as D'Amico Ryans got him, we started seeing some of Eric Murray's, better play of his career, which is what we talked about, right? Whenever D'Amico Ryans gets his hands on guys, they get better.
Yeah, and we're talking about how great D'Amico Ryans was yesterday. That's definitely a testament to it. I also really, really was proud of his decision in the second half when it was 4th and 1. Definitely could have settled and kicked it, but he went for it and he got it, and we burned more clock and ended up punching it in the end zone later in that drive. That kind of aggression is why people herald Dan Campbell as just the greatest thing since Jesus Christ, it feels like. But D'Amico Ryans getting that aggression and using it correctly, unlike how he had in the Baltimore game. I know we were very critical of how he was going forward in that game. I need more of that again going into Kansas City.
And just think what that does confidence-wise for the offense, right? Because you went on it, on 4th and down, I think twice in that drive. And, the last one gets, a Joe Mixon touchdown in the end zone, wins the Nickelodeon player of the game. Bro, did you watch that or like some of the highlights from Nickelodeon?
It's I know. Trip. Hey, we've buried the lead, honestly, Ruben. The real MVP of the game was the dirty bubble.
Hey, still in Coach Hardball.
Yep. Ever since then, they got outscored 32-6 once the dirty bubble stole Jim Harbaugh.
And shout out the dirty bubble. Explorer was throwing shots all game. I didn't like that one bit. But hey, Nickelodeon, man, just fantastic job showing the youth the beautiful game of football. Jimmy Neutron was on there. The Fairly Odd Parents were on there. Dude, just an awesome job.
I would have watched that over Ian Eagle and Charles Davis if it wasn't so far behind. That was my big issue. It was like 3 or 4 plays behind, and I'm pretty sure you're like me. You're scrolling X while the game's going on, and I tried it, and there was too many spoilers. I couldn't do it.
No, I agree. But, D'Amico Ryans going for it, being aggressive is what we wanted. And, man, it felt like an entirely new Houston Texans team after that big play from CJ Stroud finding Hutchinson for a first down. Your defensive line, man, Spencer, I said the best defensive line is going to win on Saturday. Talked about how important Folo Fatukasi was. Had a big game again, he did. On the run, just a behemoth of a man. Mario Edwards Jr., 1.5 sacks. Danico Autry, a sack, and also a blocked kick that resulted in 2 points for the Houston Texans. Then you add on Will Anderson Jr. He's not human. Area 51. I said it and I'm going to say it again and I want your reaction. He's our modern day JJ Watt.
Wow. I love that. I love that. And even before the game, they aired the interview. JJ Watt was interviewing before the game, and they were talking about how they both, in similar ways, they flip a switch when they get on the field. Like Will Anderson, super nice guy, humble, loves God, always giving glory to Jesus and his teammates. But when the clock turns and he is on the field,
Demon
that
time.
man is an absolute animal. Absolutely worth every draft asset that we gave up to trade up to get him. I know that was a bit of a conversation at times in his rookie year that wasn't worth it. We need to put those talks to rest forever. We got our building blocks in CJ Stroud and Will Anderson in that draft. It was worth every penny.
Dude, and it's just only going to get better. This defense showed you yesterday, man, that it makes opposing quarterbacks at home look dumb. I have a stat up here, dude. You know, Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa, Anthony Richardson, Caleb Williams, Josh Allen's, and now Justin Herbert, sub 60 ratings when they play in Houston.
This
Jared Goff,
defense is
59.
nasty.
Yeah. Bro, it's nasty at home, and you just hope that it travels. And normally in the playoffs, the defenses do travel well. The fact that you had 4 interceptions yesterday against Justin Herbert, more than what he had all year. We also have to talk about how many pick sixes are we going to see in a wild card game. Jonathan Joseph has a couple. Christian Harris had one last year, and now Eric Murray had one. Hey, 3:30 Saturday, I love it. Pick six every game, I love it, dude. And the crowd
And of
was
course, JJ
rocking,
Watt.
brother.
Of course, JJ Watts.
Foster in the building.
The vibes were electric. I even saw there was a picture of him and Owen Daniels taking in the game from a suite. We were never losing that game yesterday. I feel silly for having doubted the team. I listened too much to the media narratives. I watched too many Justin Herbert highlights. I'm here to hand up, admit I was dead wrong. And boy, am I glad that I was a dummy for that one. Because, Ruben, I'm going to be honest. I told you this a couple weeks ago off camera. If the Texans won their wild card game and they travel to Kansas City, I was going to get irrational. And I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling irrational, Ruben.
I'm feeling dangerous. Hey, I want that get back. I need it. Can you imagine this Houston Texans defense doing what they did against Los Angeles at Arrowhead next week? And all you need is CJ Stroud to, not turn the football over. And you're going to have yourself, in a prime opportunity to win the football game. What were your thoughts on the offensive line? I think they were solid.
I like this assortment of offensive linemen. It was almost like Shaq Mason being hurt for this game was addition by subtraction. I was really, really happy with what we saw from Juice Scruggs yesterday. In fact, I really thought the only person that really, I'm sure there was more times that gave up more pressures. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the one that stood out to me the most was Joey Bosa pushing Laramie Tunsil back into CJ Stroud and getting a sack there. Had to have been Tunsil's first sack given up in a very, very long time. So other than that, very clean game. I love the lineup of Tunsil, Howard, Patterson, Scruggs at right guard, and Blake Fisher, the rookie, held his own in a very tough matchup. I didn't hear Khalil Mack's name too much besides when they were talking about how you're supposed to pronounce it.
Hey, man, we might have got us one in Blake Fisher.
Yeah, he actually had a much better day than his Notre Dame counterpart, Joe Alt, on the other side.
Dude, I was always so happy, right? Whenever they drafted Joe Alt, that's who the Titans wanted, right? And they ended up getting, some other guy. But all week I heard about the Chargers offensive line, how great their tackles were, how great their interior offensive line was. And the fact that Justin Herbert was pressured on 40% of his dropbacks, it could be more. Twitter's down right now, so I don't have the numbers in front of me. But, dude, elite defense, man. I mean, there's nothing else you could say. It was belt to ass yesterday. It was a game where, they kind of showed out for the city. And I like that because we talked about how if the Texans win this game, it's going to be about, how the Chargers lost it instead of the Houston Texans winning. No, after the performance yesterday, there was no other way to put it. The Houston Texans beat the shit out of the Los Angeles Chargers, and CJ Stroud might have woke up.
Don't let that man get hot. Don't let that man get confident. We know in the NFL, momentum's a very, very real thing. That's why we saw poor stretches of play from CJ for very long parts of the season. And it was almost like, I really think we could come back to that play where they snapped the ball over his head. And we're going to look back at that as the moment the season turned around if they can get things taken care of. I want my first AFC Championship appearance, Ruben. I need it.
Smoking on that Rex Ryan, man. We smoking on that Rex Ryan.
Damn
smoking
right.
on all the doubters. Smoking on everyone who thought we were going to get disrespect. I think 9 out of 10 experts had the Houston Texans losing this game. Brother, final thing before we go. Your confidence heading into Kansas City.
Confidence on a scale of 1 to 10. How would I not go with 7?
I love it.
CJ
Lord,
Stroud.
that's
we go as he goes.
God's perfect number, 7. Took 7 days to make this beautiful earth. And hell, we're going to need number 7 to be magical on Sunday. And who says he's not, right? I mean, when you go back at the Kansas City game a couple of weeks ago, Tank Dell scores that touchdown. You're feeling like you could shock the world. Fortunately, we know what happened immediately after the loss of Tank Dell. Now, I saw Big Sarge say, fly Tank out there. I would love that. Like this game's just as big for Tank Dell as it is, the guys on the field. Brother, it's hard to say. I'm at an 8. I might be at a 9. Hell, when it comes to whenever we play, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, I might be at a 10. I might be thinking that this Houston Texans team, once again, can shock the world.
I need to see it. I need to see it. We have never been in an AFC Championship game in franchise history. For me to consider this season a success, you need to get to that game.
Same.
And there's Mr. Mahomes and the quest for a three-peat standing in your way. If you play the same way you did on Saturday, you will beat the Kansas City Chiefs, period, point blank. I feel that confident in what we saw yesterday. Now, that being said, obviously the Chiefs are a much better team than the Chargers, better defense, clearly a better quarterback that's been there, done that. So they're going to have to really dig deep to replicate that performance. But I ask you the same question I asked you last week, Ruben. Why not the Houston Texans, damn it?
Why not us? We shocked the world once. We could do it again. I cannot wait, man. It was hard to sleep during the week leading up to yesterday, and it's going to be, even harder, trying to find some rest at night because I know what, dude, and it goes back to what I'm saying, and I felt victim of this, right? First quarter, I mean, my energy was at a low. It was bad. I was texting Harley because we were going to have to, do the show on Bleacher Report. He's like, I'm not feeling good about this game. And it goes back to there is no history that we could fall back on, right? There's not, oh no, like we've got this. Trust me. Look at what we did in the past. No, the history is being written, as we go forward with this Houston Texans team. And man, I'm excited to be a part of it. And why not us, Spencer? Why not us, brother? Before we go, man, let the fans know where they can find you and all your fantastic work.
Yeah, man. So get me at Athletically Declined. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram, TikTok until it goes away eventually. We're there. Come hang out with us there, as well as X. Me personally, I am on Twitter. I'm on X as Roland_Nolan. I am on Instagram at Mr. Fantasy FF. Come drop a comment, drop a like, give me a follow, and we'll see what happens from here with this Texans team, man.
Well, one thing's for sure, me and Spencer will be back on the camera talking about whatever the hell happens. We're H-Town till we drown. Do me a favor, guys. Have a real blessed rest of y'all's day.